Look, brewing beer is hard work, back-breaking work, a lot of cleaning, a lot of scrubbing, but it's also kind of glamorous when you think about it. We've done our part here at Brewed to tell the story of the brewers who make some of your favorite local craft beer. But what about the people behind the brewers, the people that make their work possible? We're going to visit them and hear their stories on this installment of Brewed. So the name Crawford Company is a name you're familiar with for heating and cooling and plumbing, but there's a whole separate division you may not know about, and they are, in a very real way, directly responsible for some of your favorite beers. I'm here with Keith, and Keith, you are the division manager. And here at Crawford Company, you are division manager for a very special and very important, I would argue, the most important division. I don't know if you want to get involved with that right now. Let's just say it's the most important division.
We'll go with that.
Tell the people what you do here at Crawford and Company.
We're actually manufacturing brewing equipment. We've got a multitude of systems out there in the industry right now. We've got some here locally in the Quad Cities. We've got a lot of them up in the Chicago area.
So brewing equipment, that would be what exactly?
Well, it can go from simply just a brew house, as far as a mash tun, brew kettle, hot liquor tank, controls. We get into fermenters, bright tanks, to full-fledged installations where we're putting in chillers, boilers, process piping. We even get into the commissioning on the systems when we install them too.
Now, as a fan of craft beer, the exciting news is your guys are hard at work putting together a whole lot of equipment for a whole lot of breweries.
Yep.
Some we can talk about, some are top secret that we can't talk about.
Unfortunately.
But they're hard at work working on a bunch of jobs for a bunch of places all around the Midwest.
Yes.
And some local.
Yep. Yep, we've got some that are going to be coming up here in the Quad City area. Got one coming up in Cedar Rapids here pretty quick. Wisconsin. I mean, just in this region, I guess I would say we've probably got another dozen coming up here within the next year.
Now, the places that we visited that use your stuff, they just rave about it. And what I'm hearing, the feedback I get from brewers who use the Crawford Company equipment is that it's quality stuff, first and foremost. All of it made here,
Made here in the USA in our shop.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And the other thing they say is that why your product is so much better than other products is it was designed by a brewer, somebody that knows where they need to be pushing buttons.
Exactly.
And talk to me about the ease that people have with the equipment, because it was designed by one of this area's first and foremost early brewers, right?
Steve Zeidema from Front Street Brewery. He's actually retired now. The business has been bought out by another group of guys that's keeping it going. They're doing a really good job with it. Our systems, they were designed by a brewer. It was actually a really good partnership because it was designed by a brewer, but then he came to us with expertise on being able to fabricate this stuff and put it together.
Because you can tell an engineer, okay, we need this kind of tank, and the water needs to get this hot, and they can make that happen.
Right.
But a brewer knows, okay, I need to be able to do this quickly and move this around and move this hose to this tank. That just makes things a lot easier for them in the long haul.
Exactly. There's a process behind it.
Right. And again, the people that we've talked to that use your stuff, they just rave about it because a lot of them have used other equipment. If I were to start a brewery, let's say I win the lottery tomorrow and I was going to start a brewery. The temptation is to buy equipment that's made overseas because it's a lot less expensive.
To a point.
To a point.
To a point.
Although it isn't, because you guys have had a lot of situations where people will buy big Chinese equipment and bring it over here, and then they have to have it retrofitted.
We do a lot of that, actually. We've had customers that have come to us. They've decided that they can't afford to have stuff made in the U.S.
Right.
They'll order it from manufacturers that import it from overseas. We get it here, then they look at it, decide, oh, it's not going to do what I want it to do. So then we spend time and obviously money retrofitting it to get it to do what they need it to do.
Don't you find that beer brewed in tanks made in America just somehow tastes better?
Yeah.
USA. USA. So how did this all get started? How long have you been doing brewery equipment?
A little over 4 years.
Okay.
Steve Zeidema originally came to me, was a little over 4 years ago. He had basically their napkin sketches, just designs on what he wanted to do. We sat down, We finished the detailing. We put some pricing together for it, and pretty much it took off from there.
So then Steve has this equipment, he brings it to his place, and just the nature of craft brewers, they all kind of visit each other, they come and see his stuff, and then they say, well, I want this.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
makes a lot more sense.
And
now you find you've got to create a whole new division.
Exactly.
So it's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have.
Right. Right now they're working on stuff for how many different breweries?
We've got 4 of them in production right now as we speak, and we've got another 5 of them waiting to get released to the floor.
Everything you make is big scale mass production stuff. Any thought of doing smaller stuff for maybe a home brewer kind of deal? Or I guess you're busy enough right now, aren't you?
Actually, we're doing it as we speak. You just don't know it yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Working on some homebrew stuff?
Yeah.
Really? So that'll be part of the line that...
Eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
2017, 2018, something like that?
It'll be next year.
Next year?
Yeah,
So that
definitely.
Crawford company quality that the craft beer makers make, you can have in your garage or your basement.
Next year.
Wow, I was going to take credit for giving you a great idea. It turns out a little late to the party here.
Sorry about that.
Let me ask you this. How long of a process is it from somebody calling you and saying, I want the equipment, to having it made? Like, how long does it take your team to make this stuff?
Really depends on the size of the brewery.
Okay.
How many fermenters, bright tanks, other tanks they want with it. We can have it done between 12 and 18 weeks.
What's the biggest job you guys have done so far?
We've got 2 of them up in the Chicago area that we're pushing well over $500,000 a piece.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. So, and then you get here in Rock Island and then you drive it to Chicago.
Yeah.
I bet that's fun.
Yeah.
Moving these things around, I don't think would be...
These guys got it figured out.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Here at Crawford Company, believe you
Yep.
me. All right, so can we take a peek around and see how
Definitely.
these things are made?
Definitely.
All right, let's do that. All right, so Keith, this is a mock-up here. This is a fully functioning mock-up of what you guys are putting in breweries all around the Midwest.
Definitely. Actually, what we do is when we build a system, we'll completely assemble it, run all the process piping to it, the electrical. We'll actually hook this up with water, and it goes through a complete testing phase where that way we know when we crate it up and ship it out of here, there's no issues with it
You don't want to
whatsoever at
move
all.
this thing to another state and find any surprises.
No.
When it leaves here, you know
We
it's
know.
100% working exactly the way it's supposed to.
I can sleep good at night knowing there's no issues.
Right on. And you're telling me everything that we see here, every piece of equipment made right here in Rock Island?
Yes.
Perfect. Well,
Yep,
look, man,
sure
it
is.
sounds like business is booming.
It is.
And the phone's ringing off the hook. People want your stuff because it's just the best stuff really to make beer with. And it's made, again, right here in the Quad Cities.
Definitely.
Keith, thanks so much
Thanks, Dave.
thanks so much for the visit.
Pleasure.
Keep up the good work.
We will.
Coming up on Brewed, the king helping the little guys. How a beer giant is spreading local craft beer to the masses.